Hey YouTube, um, this is Seth McDonald. I am almost done with the book, Sword, the Life-Giving Sword book with the Shogun strategist on the art of the samurai sword. I've learned a few things out there, very interesting, very technical, and the way of philosophy of the Shogun and the samurai all at the same time. Uh, Pretty much, Shogun was samurai back then. Um, a shogun was a clan of itself. They trained in the samurai arts and everything else. The way I see of it. If I would have loved back then. You know, people nowadays in today's society they had a training system, to follow along and all that. Back then, they didn't really have a training system. They didn't really have much. No one really taught them anything. They just, after time went on, um, when they would go out in the battle, they would try out a few things. Then after that battle was over with and they won the battle, they would, just practice their skill on what they know. But now, today, we just have a regiment that's been handed down for centuries. Like, if you want to take karate, for instance, it's been handed down from generation to generation to generation, and so on and so on to different countries and everything else. And to me, karate came from China. It didn't really come from Japan. As most karate books would say, that karate came from Japan. Well, yeah, it might have been invented in Japan. It might have, been invented there, but really the birthplace of karate is Kung Fu. The birthplace of karate is the White Crane. The White Crane system is based off the um, theory of karate. That was China's first karate martial art. Um, and then they have all these other styles. I'm not really going to go into detail on, which, most of them they all know. They go by animal movements, which, like the tire, the crane, snake, eagles. Um, the two most common karate styles will be the eagle's claw and the crane. And the tire, because usually those were the three main areas where karate came from, because eagle claw is basically on joint locks and manipulating a person. Tiger claw is about palm striking, scratching, eye gouging, and stuff like that. And crane is basically about like blocking, being evasive, and being light on the feet like a boxer, pretty much. And most of his heritage came from China. And out of all the books I've read, out of all the books, history books that I've read about Chinese martial arts, that it'll even say most of it came from China. Now, on one system, I would have to say probably didn't come from China, but it had to probably come somewhere from China. Would be um, number one art would be capoeira. That didn't come from China, and um, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu didn't come from China. So now Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, probably came from Judo, which I don't think Judo came from China. I really don't think Judo came from China. I think Judo came from wrestling, from the Mongolian arts. It was more of a Mongolian art than anything. So, really, technically, most martial art, I would say probably that's not from China, of the capoeira and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, because those two arts were not from Shaolin. And same with boxing. Boxing, Western boxing, that's not from Shaolin. That we don't even know who was the first person that invented boxing. Nobody knows because there was actually a book that um, supposedly they think boxing was invented by 500 AD, somewhere around there, like 500,000 AD, something like that. But they don't know who invented it. If anybody knows who invented boxing from like the history text and stuff like that, who was the first person that invented boxing in history before this modern time, please leave a comment down below. But nobody knows. So it don't even have in the record book of all the styles of martial arts. They had a thing where it had a picture of Muhammad Ali and it had like boxing in it, and it said something about the time period it was invented, but artist met the person that invented the style was unknown, and I can't remember the name of the book that was called. But it was a good book. I even saw some styles in there I never heard of. But which, it's all good, I don't even really care about where the style came from. To me, if a style works and it helps you protect yourself at all times, who cares on where it came from? Who cares on what culture it came from? Who cares on what the system is? As long as it helps protect yourself, that's all that matters. Now, I don't know if you practice the samurai arts, like swords and blades and stuff like that. Yes, you cannot take a sword out in public. That is a law. But you can't carry a pocket knife unless it's in legal limits. But 9 out of 10, who's gonna carry a dang sword out in public? Nobody. Who's gonna carry a dang sword out in public? Nobody is. Now they might carry guns, but swords? No. Swords is in the past. To me, guns are now. And it's like, you can't bring, people tell me all the time, you may know all that kung fu stuff. Because sometimes they see me practice it going by my house and everything out in the yard and all that. But when somebody pulls a gun on you, you ain't going to be faster than the bullet. And I looked at it and I said, if somebody pulls a gun on me, I told them, I said, they better pull the damn trigger because they better get me once. But if they ain't gonna pull that trigger, I'm gonna take that damn gun away. I'm gonna pull it back on them. And that's the reason why I say don't fight unless we have to. If you have to fight and it's for self-defense, and that's one thing. But I was told by a police officer a long time ago, 3 years from now, that if you ever got in a fight, you'd be going to jail with the same party. So 9 out of 10, it's best not to fight unless if you have a witness saying you're trying to protect yourself. That's all martial arts is used for, is protection only. Not to hurt people like how most people say to do it on in their videos and stuff like that. It's only for self-defense. That's right. Martial arts only for self-defense. Most people see it on the movies. They say they practice the art on what they see on the movie. Then they go out and do it in real life, and they end up hurting somebody, and then they go to jail for hurting somebody. Because they believe the things that they see on movies. So, don't believe everything you see on TV. Don't believe everything you see on movies. Follow the law. Obey the law. Obey the rules of the martial art code. Martial art code is to be humble, respectful to oneself and others, and don't do no harm. Unless if you come to circumstances and somebody's in need of help, then being chased down, being run down, almost getting hurt, then yes, you can help them out. That's what my sensei always told me. He said, always use martial art for self-defense. Always use martial art to help people, but not to hurt others. He always said it's easy to hurt, but you can learn to use it to help people, then you're using it for good. Seth McDonald signing out. Peace.